Naturally, as Will's grandmother, I visited Will in hospital on the first day that he was born. James, Will's father, handed him to me, wrapped in a little blue blanket. I'll never forget that moment. He was such a handsome baby. James ran 3 London pubs in the 1980s, of that punk sort. He looked awful with that leather jacket and those sort of things. That's not the sort of thing for children. So I would babysit as often as possible to make sure he had someone normal in his life. Sharon was an art teacher. She always had her nose in a magazine full of pictures. It's not the way to inspire a young man to a career, if you ask me. James loved such peculiar books, all those horror things. That one about the rats. Dreadful things, really. I don't know what he saw in them. Will's birth wasn't very easy, but he got here. He was never going to have brothers or sisters after, though. It's good for a young boy to be outdoors, but Will never really liked that when he was young. There was always music playing when I got to the house. Some awful racket. Not the sort of thing a child should be hearing. I always turned it off. Will's mother is an American, Sharon. They met through James's pubs. She took Will away to America for 3 years when she and James split up. They got back together again, though. I only wanted the best for Will. I must sound like I was terribly damning of James and Sharon, but I loved Will as a boy and wanted to give him the best chance of a normal life. I remember that evening. Will had been quieter than usual. He'd got into a fight at school. Another boy had been calling a girl names because she had dark skin. Will told the boy to stop, and he was punched in the stomach. I asked him if he had cried, and he said yes. I told him that big boys don't cry. I remember him asking me then, what do big boys do when they're sad? I told him that when he grew up, he would be a good man, able to stand up for others. I suppose I didn't answer his question. I told him that he was right to try to stop the bully. Looking back, I don't think he seemed very comforted. Will tripped on a toy when he was going to bed. I remember carrying him. He was trying so hard not to cry. He was so small in my arms. I've never forgotten that feeling. It's most odd what sticks with you. A whole patchwork of memories making up our lives. I took him to bed to read him a story. Sharon kept on buying him books of ghost stories. He always wanted me to read him those, but he never slept properly after, I think. I had to check the room for ghosts before he would sleep. I always look carefully to reassure him. I remember that night clearly. I remember promising him that I would always protect him, no matter whatever happened. Of course, he was thinking of ghosts still, but maybe I knew then that his life wasn't going to be so easy. I was reading Grimm's fairy tales to him. I liked those much more than the new versions that they kept on coming out with back then. That night was a strange story, called The Ungrateful Son. It went something like this. Once upon a time, a man and his wife were eating a roast chicken for dinner. When the man saw his father, a very old man, walking along the road towards them, the man didn't want to share, and so he hid the chicken out of sight. His father came, bid them a good day, and went on his way. The man was happy with himself, told his wife to get the chicken and put it on the table again. But the chicken had transformed into a giant toad, which leapt onto the face of the man. The toad wouldn't leave his face and hissed at the wife when she came near, so she didn't dare approach to help. The man had to feed the toad every day from then on, or it would bite his face, and he never rested for the remainder of his life. That was a very strange story. Will was asleep before I finished it, which was probably a good thing. I felt strange after reading it. I wondered about whether I really could keep him safe. The world is so unpredictable. I would do my best like all good grandmothers. I could still see him sleeping there now, like it was only yesterday.